Hi everyone, this is Abhinav from Phone Bunch and today we are reviewing the Micromax Canvas Nitro A310 which comes with an octa-core processor with 2 gigs of RAM, 5-inch HD IPS display available for just Rs 11,400. So is it the phone that you should get over the Moto G 2nd Gen? We'll find out in this review. Let's have a look at the build first. On the left you have the volume rocker which is very sturdy, offers good feedback, doesn't wobble at the top 3.5 audio jack. On the right you have the power lock and unlock button and you can see the forged stitching at the back. The back cover has a leatherized texture finish as well. At the bottom, primary microphone as well as a micro USB data syncing and charging port. Moving to the back, you have a 13 megapixel camera, secondary noise cancellation microphone, LED flash and speakerphone. At the bottom you can see that the camera is flush with the surface, no camera hump. Sound does get muffled when the phone is put flat on its back. It's a relatively thin device, especially when you compare it with the Moto G 2nd Gen, and both the buttons are reachable with your fingers, and this phone can be easily used in one hand as well if you have sort of larger hands. You can see that I can easily operate the power lock and unlock button with my thumb, reach the bottom of the device, and also use the volume rocker with the index finger. Now this is the new blink screen lock screen application. I will talk about that later. Now on opening up the back cover, you will find that it's actually quite sturdy. It does bend a little bit, but there is very little flex to it when it is on the device. Now on the inside you can see you have two micro SIM card slots, you have a micro SD card slot up to 32 gigs and you have a 2500 mAh battery available. The phone is powered by the MT6592 octa-core chipset. We got 26833 on Antutu, 13376 on Quadrant. The phone has excellent build quality. There is no flex and no creaking. You do have a notification LED right up top. It glows either green or red. You have a 5 megapixel front facing camera available as well. So 13 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel front facing camera, a 5-inch HD IPS display and capacitive buttons at the bottom which do light up. The display also has an oleophobic coating, so your fingerprints can be just simply wiped off. It has great color reproduction, excellent and wide viewing angles, so there is no distortion in brightness and colors when the display is tilted, even at extreme angles. You can see how good bright the colors look, and this display is visible in direct sunlight as well. It's quite bright. Now coming to network and call quality, we didn't have any major issues here, even with 3G as well as normal voice calling. You do have video calls over 3G available as well. The main earpiece as well as speakerphone are actually quite loud. You would have to reduce the volume of the earpiece. You do have call recording available here as well. It's not auto, but manually you can start recording calls, and you have noise reduction available with the help of the secondary microphone, and you can reject calls with an SMS. You have Wi-Fi hotspot, Bluetooth as well as USB tethering available on the phone. It has a GPS inbuilt as well, and it's able to locate very quickly, especially outdoors. Now this is the default camera interface. It's a MediaTek camera app. You have a 13 megapixel primary camera available on this device. You have object tracking, touch to focus, and this camera takes pretty decent images when you are outside in bright sunlight, in good ambient light as well. You can see right there you have HDR images. You can take 13 megapixel images in 4:3 aspect ratio. Videos have EIS or electronic image stabilization, and you can record 1080p videos at 30 fps. Video quality is also quite good here, and you can tap to focus while recording videos. Now front facing camera, you have a 5 megapixel unit again, so brilliant specs in terms of cameras, and both cameras actually can take very good images and decent video quality as well. Noise reduction does help. Now you have this camera widget available too. You can take selfies, and you have the stable shot, which doesn't take a shot until the camera becomes stable. There you go, an image is saved. Very handy here. Now we have taken some samples. You can see the lot of detail is captured by this camera. Yes, the colors do appear a bit dull. The contrast is a bit low, I would say, but still a lot of detail is captured. Now if I compare, I would say this camera is slightly lower in terms of overall picture quality than the Moto G. You have the HDR image on the right, you can see, but still it produces sharp images. There's a bit of smoothing going on. It features the Sony IMX135 sensor. Now autofocusing does take a little bit of time, but even then macro shots do turn out to be very good with a lot of detail and very little noise. You can see that here too, lot of detail captured, but low light imaging is not its forte and the flash is not that effective either. Now this is the headset you get bundled within the box, and finally I can say these are good enough to listen to music as well. In-ear style, they fit comfortably in your ears. I'll play some music and you can clearly hear how muffled the sound is. But as soon as I pick up the device, you can hear much louder. Now you do have an equalizer inbuilt as well. I'll just show that to you. It does work both on the speakerphone and when you have a headset plugged in. You can play pause tracks with a single tap of the headset. Double tapping it moves you to the next track. So additional functionality here. FM radio reception is also quite good. And you can record FM, which is saved by default in the phone storage. Now we are playing a 1080p video. Now you do have something extra here. You have look away to pause available. So as soon as you look away from the display, the video pauses. It's very gimmicky, but it does work. Now we are playing a YouTube video. It's our final review of the Nokia Lumia 530 Dual SIM. Now streaming videos also play well. We are playing this video in 720p. That's the maximum supported by the display. Now if we come to software, there are many things that have been changed, including the default launcher. So you can add widgets here. They are not missing. Just drag and drop to any of the home screens. This is your app drawer, just like the Google Now launcher. And you have something new here. It's called Quick Look. So you can enable your Facebook and Twitter feeds and also view articles from various sources based on your choosing. Now this loads up quite fast. It's sort of like HTC's Blink feed in its implementation. You do have app folders available too to organize all your apps and shortcuts. You do have gestures available as well. We have already shown these to you in our features video, but I'll just show that again. So let's say I want to use 2-finger flick up. I can increase volume with that. So I'll just do that and you can see volume increases. This is actually more gimmicky than of any use. Now there are several apps that came pre-installed. There's a lot of bloatware on the device, but some of the apps are uninstallable. So it's not that a major concern. Here are quick toggles, no major changes here. Now coming into about, you'll be able to see this phone is running Android 4.4.2 KitKat right out of the box with software updates available. There's 5.68 gigs of internal storage available and you can add to 32 gig micro SD card. USB OTG is not supported, app and app data not movable to the external storage, which is really a downer. You have 8 gig ROM here. Now RAM usage hasn't been optimized on this phone. Out of the 1.9 GB available to the phone itself, only 800 to 900 MB remains available even when the phone is idle. That's something really strange. You have something called Clear Motion. It's a video fluency enhancer. I didn't find much use for that. Now battery life is pretty decent. You can easily get more than 1 day of usage with this phone. CPU power saving mode does work and you can get up to a maximum 2 days of usage with minimal use. Now in screen lock, you have voice unlock, pattern pin and password. Slide to unlock is always available here. But you don't have face unlock even though this phone has a 5 megapixel front camera. Now you can check which apps have access to your notifications. You can also check which apps start when the phone actually boots up with auto start management. And you also have app permissions where you can see which apps use which particular features of your phone. And you can choose whether they should be allowed to use them or always ask when the app is being used. Now this is the SwiftKey keyboard that comes pre-installed and you can see how fast it is to type on. Now we have loaded our mobile website. It is loaded completely and you can see how fast scrolling is. No lag. Rendering is a bit slow, but text as well as images render perfectly. The display is really sharp, which does help reading text. And pinch to zoom is also quite smooth here. There are no issues with web browsing here. But in general performance, this phone does begin to lag a little bit. We got excellent benchmark scores on Antutu and Quadrant and even 60 FPS on Nena Mark II. Just goes to show you that synthetic benchmarks are not of much use. Now gameplay, as you see here, it's part of our gaming review, was just about good. We were expecting a lot more given the specs of the device. And there was some issue with the accelerometer. I kept wandering in the horizontal space. and there was quite a bit of lag in NFS as well as Real Racing 3. So even with the Mali 450MP4 GPU, gameplay was not up to par. This display is one of the best things about this phone, as is the attention to detail as well as the build quality of the device. It has an excellent rear camera which can take great images outdoors, excellent ergonomics as well, and this phone can be easily used in one hand. I still won't be recommending this over the Moto G 2nd Gen. Why, you ask? Because even with that octa-core processor, 2 gigs of RAM, 13 megapixel primary, 5 megapixel front camera, a 5-inch HD IPS display, and a 11,400 rupees price tag, this phone fails at user experience. It heats up in general use, has laggy gameplay and general performance, and weird software additions that are of no use to anyone. So Moto G still rules this segment. I'll be back with more. Till then, you can watch our full review of the Moto G 2nd Gen as well as the gaming review of the Micromax Canvas Nitro. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching and have a great day.